Common Side Effects is a new animated show that is definitely targeted for adults. And I believe it's on Adult Swim, and it also has shown up on Max, and that's where I saw the first 2 episodes. I believe, I don't really know who really created this show, but I believe Mike Judge and Greg Daniels are involved in it, and of course they are famous for collaborating together to create King of the Hill. And before you mention it, yeah, there is a character in this series that sounds just like Hank Hill, and I really feel like Mike Judge, when he defaults to pretty much any character, he goes full Hank Hill. And there's a whole joke that there's a character on Beavis and Butthead and Hank Hill. They pretty much have the same voice. In this case, I feel like that this character in this show is kind of doing just kind of a mild Hank Hill impersonation, but I am really getting too focused on this thing. But it's one of those things, like when you're watching something, you just go like, wow, that really is Hank Hill, and it's really hard not to notice it. So let's talk about what you should be noticing. Now, the premise of Common Side Effects is actually very clever, but it also feels very familiar. And I think part of it is because it is really dealing with something that I think we all fear. The fact that our health institution and the pharmaceutical corporations, basically any corporation or organization that is devoted to health, isn't really devoted to keeping us well, but more like, say, benefiting by the fact that we get sick. And yeah, hey, I was recently in for a surgery, and I've got a bill that I haven't even opened yet because I'm afraid of what I'm going to see in it. And the fact is, we all get sick, and we all end up paying these exorbitant prices to get ourselves well, that it's just absolutely nuts. And here's the thing. We all know this to be true, and I really feel like this is kind of one of these messages that just gets put in a lot of TV shows and movies. And I think we're sick of it because we sort of have to deal with it every day. And I think maybe we just don't really want to see this in our films and TV shows. So Common Side Effects deals with a main character who, I don't really remember his name, but at some point in time he discovered a mushroom that, as the word that is used on Wikipedia, panacea. In other words, it's a cure-all. And so, now here's the thing about this thing. I was willing to buy a certain portion of this thing. For example, this idea that there's essentially this mushroom that can cure all diseases. I was willing to go, okay, I'm willing to buy that. The thing is, they showed this thing as this mushroom as it will bring you back to life. Or at least, like, if you're critically injured, it will pretty much bring you back and you'll be healthy. Like, almost instantaneously. And I kind of went like, oh, geez, what is this? What's in that thing? What's in that mushroom? Fungal Jesus? I swear that I just kind of went like, okay, sometimes when you're watching something and you just can't get your sense of disbelief to just go with you on this. And I think at that point in time, I kind of went like, okay, I'm willing to believe that it could do this, but not that. So that was sort of almost a deal breaker for me. That being said, the show is actually pretty interesting, but it's also very dark. Its animation style, I don't really know how to describe it. I want to compare it to another animated show that it was designed for adults that really needs to be more talked about, called Carol at the End of the World. No one is talking about this show. I did a rant on it. It wasn't a 10-minute one. That was back before I was doing 10-minute rants, because I couldn't do that on TikTok because I didn't think I had enough subscribers then. But yeah, that's a show that actually shares a voice actor with someone on this show, which I noticed right away when this character started talking. I went like, oh, hey, it's Carol from Carol at the End of the World. And it's like, hey, whatever happened to that show? As far as I know, I don't think there's been a second season of it. And I think it's been at least 2 years since that show has been out. But yeah, so here's the thing. The Mike Judge character that I mentioned earlier, he's like the head of a pharmaceutical company, and he has a, secretary, an assistant, who knows the main character and who learns about his magic mushrooms, so to speak. And essentially, this pharmaceutical company is looking for the latest new thing, otherwise they could go under. And you can tell the CEO is worried about this, but you can also tell that he probably has enough money to have a cash cushion in case the worst goes wrong, but he still wants to keep getting more money because that's what they all do. So here's the thing that I think this show is trying to say, and I think says it well, maybe even too well. I get the feeling like if we did discover some naturally occurring fungus or plant or something that could cure everything, there would be so many people that would be in danger of it, they would want to kill that. And that is what they are deliberately trying to do on this show. So some of these, I think even the DEA is after this main character because they know that there's going to be, they know, hey, I mean, technically what he has is a drug. So I guess it makes sense they'd be after that. I feel like if this were to happen, like say, for example, I were to discover something like this in my backyard, yes, I would keep it hidden because I know there would be people, but I feel like there should be people who are trying to come after me because they want to try and clone this thing. They want to try and mass produce it, but still their end goal would be to make money. They wouldn't be trying to do it so they could give it away. Because there are sick and injured people throughout the world and they would want to cure and heal them and make the world a better place. No, they would do it so they could get the money, and whoever the highest bidder is, that is who I will provide this service for. And I think there's always been kind of conspiracy theories. I mean, there was an episode of Family Guy where Lois's rich dad essentially has the cure to cancer, but he just refuses to give it out. But apparently he's so rich that when he has cancer, he just goes to his anti-cancer people and they cure him, and then that's it. But he's just not willing to give it out because it's like, hey man, there's so many people that are dying of cancer and cancer treatments are so expensive. We make a lot of business off that. This would be kind of like it'd be sort of like a same thing that would happen, like say, for example, if you invented a device that would give you unlimited energy. The oil companies, a lot of other companies would come after you because, no, we want you to pay for energy. And if you don't pay for energy, we're not making money. And they'd be so upset that, yeah, I think they would be willing to kill over something like this. It'd be the same thing if you invented a device that could teleport you, like say on Star Trek, like teleport you from one place to the other. The airline companies, pretty much every car manufacturing place would just go under. It would definitely cause the economy to have a major rockin'. It just would. And there is a bit of chaos that would happen if something of this order would be dumped on a society. And maybe that's what Common Side Effects is trying to show. In fact, even the title of the show is sort of reminiscent of that. They're sort of saying like, yes, this would happen if this were suddenly just sort of introduced into society, because we as a society would not be ready for that. We would not know how to handle that. And so I do like the show for bringing up that angle. And so I think that's pretty good. Is the show too dark? I have to say it has a very weird animated style. Everybody's heads feel very overly large, and which is really strange. Now, if they're going for a show that is satirical, which this is pretty much dark satire. But another show that's comparable is the one I keep mentioning, Carol at the End of the World, where the characters are oversized in their looks and they have very oversized heads. And I feel like that one kind of works because of the tone that's going for. This one feels like very dark. I mean, there's a scene in like one of the episodes where a character just gets shot while being a passenger in the backseat of a car, and then the assassin just opens up the door and just dumps them off to the side of the street without any intention of burying the body, anything like that. And I'm kind of going like, well, that seems inefficient. That's probably going to bite you in the butt. But they seem to imply that, yeah, they're going to cover their tracks on that somehow. Anyway, if you like shows like this, dark animated styles, you will probably like this. I don't know how many episodes are left. Anyway, this is Mark from the Geek Church signing off.